What is a job costing system? Knowing what job costing is and then a system to job cost are two different things, and we need to cover both. When you track one job for job costing, that's a lesson. But when you track all the jobs, that's a system. By the end of this video, you're not only going to know what job costing is, but a job costing system, so you stop chasing the numbers and trying to figure out if you're profitable or not. So working with a general contractor, and this is actually a commercial contractor, and so lots of bids, lots of outs, lots of trying to get numbers in there. And as they were starting to win jobs and growing in their capacity and what they were able to do, things started to get a little bit more chaotic. And they started to look at their numbers, and yeah, they were pulling P&Ls and they were pulling some financial reports and that sort of thing. But one day I asked this simple question: did that job make money? And he just froze. He didn't know. And so what we needed to do is walk through a lesson of understanding basic job costing and what it was. Now, you might be beyond that a little bit, but this is going to give you a framework how to understand job costing, not just as a discipline, but also as a system and a framework, so you can understand long-term profitability of the job. This is gonna make you more educated, because part of you feels this pain right now. Should I take that job or should I not take that job? Should we pursue this kind of work or that kind of work? Job costing helps you to be able to understand that. And a lot of you are overworking because your jobs either aren't profitable or you're not sure. And so we want to create some clarity around that as well. All right, when we talk systems, and I want to be very clear, I've got another video I'm going to put in the link below that will actually give you a definition of job costing and walk through greater detail of the slime part of job costing. So make sure you go watch that video. Now, when we talk systems, this is going to be really important because we'll talk job costing, but we have to talk about it within the context of systems. There's two layers I need you to know about. The first is what we call the 4 Ps. And the second is what we call the 4 core. And so the 4 Ps are the 4 foundational cornerstones of every business. Doesn't matter if you're selling ice cream or commercial real estate or Uber services, whatever you want to sell, doesn't matter. You have 4 foundational cornerstones: purpose, people, process, and profit. Purpose is the vision, mission, values, people, org charts, job roles, hiring processes. All the processes are the actual how-to of the business and the product. And then the fourth is where job costing sits, and that's in the profit vertical. Now within that, if we take that third P of process and merge it down into the 4 core, what we call MSOA, or marketing, sales, ops, and admin. So each one of these 4, marketing, sales, ops, and admin, are incredibly important in order to understand how the day-to-day of the business actually works. And again, job costing is going to sit within the administrative vertical and the 4th vertical of the 4P, or the profit vertical of that. So understand that when we're building job costing, we're not just doing one lesson, one discipline. We're taking that one thing and we're putting it into a greater whole of the system. In fact, this is a really good time to draw your attention to another link in the description below, where I will walk you through how to build a system for your construction business. It is a long-form masterclass. I promise it'll be well worth your time, and you'll fully understand these 4 Ps, 4 core, to understand where job costing sits and how to run your business so it runs and grows with or without you. And so this is just one process or one system within that we call the job costing system. All right, so the system itself has 3 steps, and then how we gather the system has 3 steps around this circle. So let me walk you through it. You ready? First, the job costing idea really has 3 steps. Number 1 is contract value. That's represented by this big box. The second is what we call the slime. SLIME. What does that mean? Subcontractors, labor, material, and equipment. So when you go into a job, the contract value is up here. Let's say it's $100,000. And your slime, subcontractors, labor, material, and equipment, these are all going to suck out down here to actually go into the job. So super important to understand your contract value and then suck out the slime, and what's left over is your gross profit, gross margin. That's where you actually run the business. So all your business expenses, your W-2 expenses, payroll, overhead, that sort of thing is going to come out of this gross profit here. Okay, so that's the basics of job costing. And what that tells you when this is done, is this job profitable or not? And you're like, well, why do I care? You really need to care about the profitability of that job because it determines so many other things in your business. First, it determines, do you take more jobs like that in the future, or do you let the chaos of that go away so that you can focus on the things that are actually profitable for you? So that's the basics of job costing. Now let's expand the camera a little bit and look to our circle. When we want to gather this job costing, there's 3 steps we're going to do to build job costing into a repetitive, predictable, and meaningful system. Notice those are the RPMs: repetition, predictability, and meaning. So in the macro process of understanding job costing, we've got to turn it into a system. How are we going to do that? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a commitment to capture every time we do a job cost. So we're not going to let it go. How are we going to do that? Recording it. I don't care how you record it. It can be a voice memo, it can be a camera, it can be a documentation. You can write it on stone. That's historical and precedent, but I wouldn't recommend it. You can do it whatever you want in order to capture it via recording. And then once you have that, then you start to compare every job, job by job. And the beauty of AI is you can take all your past job costs, upload them into an agent, and allow the agent to start giving you comparisons side by side of every job cost that you've done in the past. And so if you understand where job costing sits, that it's one of the 4 foundational cornerstones of a business within profit, and understanding it's a part of your administrative process, then you can begin to commit to capture it via recording so you can begin to compare over time. And that information on understanding your contract value minus your subs, labor, material, and equipment gives you your gross profit. Now you can make better decisions day to day and your business can start to run and grow with or without you. What are some of those decisions that you can make? Do I hire this next person? Well, that depends. Do you have margin and profitability to be able to do that? Well, Scott, I have money in the bank. Be careful. Just because you have money in the bank, it doesn't mean you're making money. And so we've got to understand proper job costing within the context of your profit and loss statement to be able to do that. This is super simple stuff. It's super basic stuff, but it is tedious. It does require work. So if you can commit to capturing, recording, then it positions you to begin to compare. And in comparison, you can start to make healthy, sound, repetitive, predictable, and meaningful decisions. And you know what the RPMs do? It punches chaos in the mouth. And our entire ambition is to liberate you from chaos, to make time for the things that matter most.